करतले वेणुं करे कङ्कणं सर्वाङ्गे हरिचन्दनञ्च कलयं कण्ठे च मुक्तावली गोपस्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपालचूडामणि. Excellent work. Now a prayer for Vedavyasa, who wrote Bhagavatam and gave us this excellent epic, and to Lord Narayana, who is also Lord Krishna, and Arjuna and Saraswati Devi. Please repeat after me, 1 to 2 words. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. So these two slokas you are all very familiar with. We've been doing these slokas since Ramayana sessions. So please sing along with me. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Excellent work. Now let's get started with our session, story session. Before we start the Bhagavatam session, as I mentioned earlier, today is the auspicious day that marks the celebration of Srirama Navami. Srirama Navami is the celebration of the birth of Lord Rama. Today is the day when Lord Rama was born. And to mark that great celebration, before we start the Bhagavatam session, we are going to see a quick video which will give us a recap of the entire story of Ramayana in 3-4 minutes. It'll be all pictures, one after the other. So you're all very familiar with the story now. Just follow the story through the pictures. Okay? Rama Bhaktundanai Ninnu ne Gulchadan Ninnu ne Rinchadan Ni Katakshambunan Jupuma Vedukal Jeyuma Namurala Kinchuma Nannu Rakshinchuma Anjana Devi Garkhodaya Deva Ninyancha Nenantavadan Dayasali Vaijuruma Tata Vai Provuma Daggaran Milvuma Tolli Sugrivukan Mantri Vai Swami Karyarthi Vayundi Srirama Saumitrulanjuchi Varim Varinchi Sarveshu Pujinchi Abhanujam Bantu Gavinchi Avvalim Jampi Kakutstavaryam Dayatrushti Vikshinchi Ishkindha Ketenchi Srirama Karyarthivai Lanka Ketenchi Yun Lankinim Jantiyun Lankanun Galchiyun Bhumi Janjuchi Yananda Muppongi Yayungaram Dichi Yaratnamundechi Sriramu Santoshitum Jesi Sugrivunan Jambavantun Nalun Nilunayangadun Kudiyun Setuvundati Sokha Sanghambu Chedaitulandrunchaga
రావణుండంత కాలాగ్ని విగ్రుండునైబోరి బ్రహ్మాండమైనట్టి యాశక్తి నిందేసి సౌమిత్రి నిన్మూర్చను నింపగా నప్పుడే బోయి సంజీవిని తెచ్చి రామానుజ ప్రాణముల్ రక్ష కావించియుల్ కుంభకర్ణాది వీరాధి వీరుల్ మరింబోర శ్రీరామ బాణాగ్ని వారందరిం రావణున్ గోడ జంపంగ లోకంబులానందమయ్యుండ యవ్వేళలందున్ యవ్విభీషణున్ వేడుకన్ గోడుకన్ వచ్చి పట్టాభిషేకంబు చేయించి సీతామహాదేవి నిందెచ్చి శ్రీరాముకున్ ఇచ్చి అయోధ్యకున్ వచ్చి పట్టాభిషేకంబు సంరంభమయ్యున్న నీ కన్న నాకెవ్వరూ కూర్మి లేరంచు మన్నించినన్ రామ భక్త ప్రశస్తంబుగా నిన్ను నీ నామ సంకీర్తనల్ చేసినన్ పాపముల్ బాయునే భీతియుల్ తీరునే భాగ్యముల్ కల్గునే సర్వ సామ్రాజ్యముల్ సర్వ సంపత్తులున్ కల్గునే వానరాకారయో వీర నీవే సమస్తంబు నీవే మహావీర వీరుండవై మహాశక్తివై తారక బ్రహ్మమంత్రంబు స్మృతింపజేసి స్థైర్యముగ వజ్రదేహంబులుం దాల్చి శ్రీరామ శ్రీరామయంచున్ మనఃపూతమై ఎప్పుడుం తప్పకం దల్చునా దిహ్వయందుండి ఈ దీర్ఘదేహంబునంలోక సంచారివై రామనామాంకిత ధ్యానివై బ్రహ్మవై బ్రహ్మతేజంబునన్ రౌద్రజ్వల జ్వాల కల్లోహ వీర యోధీర ఓంకార హ్రీంకార శబ్దంబులన్ భూత పైశాచిక శాకిని ఢాకిని గాలి దెయ్యంబులన్ నీదు వాలంబులన్ జుట్టి నీలంబడంగొట్టి నీ ముష్టి ఘాతంబులన్ బాహుదండంబులన్ రోమఖండంబులన్ దృంచి కాళాగ్ని రుద్రుండవై బ్రహ్మతేజ ప్రభాసితంబైన నీ దివ్య తేజంబులున్ రూచి రారా నృసింహయటుంచున్ దయా దృష్టి వీక్షించి నన్నేరు నా స్వామి నమస్తే సదా బ్రహ్మచారి నమస్తే మహావాయుపుత్ర నమస్తే నమస్తే నమః సర్వం శ్రీకృష్ణార్పణమస్తు.
Okay, did you guys remember the story, all of it? And the last few slides after the Ramayana story, they are the story, that is the story of Hanuman. So I hope you all remembered when he went to the sky to eat the sun, thinking that it is a fruit, and he got hurt by Indra. And then his father Vayudeva, he was upset with all the gods. He went and hid in a cave, not giving air to anybody in the world. So all the gods came and gave him lots and lots of boons and strength. So I hope you all remembered the entire story, and I hope that was a quick recap of the story of Ramayana. So since it is the birthday of Rama, so we celebrated and we did a namaskaram to Rama in a quick story sense. So after that, now let's get back to our story of Bhagavatam. So we've completed Prahlada's story, we have completed Gajendra Moksham and 10th Skanda, the 10th episode of Bhagavatam. Again, we are not covering every episode in Bhagavatam like we did in Ramayanam. We are only going to pick the most, I don't want to say the word important because every word in Bhagavatam is important. Let's just say popular or whatever the time permits, we are just doing that. So now we are going to get into the key part of Bhagavatam, which is the 10th episode of Bhagavatam, which is the 10th Skanda. This is the story of Lord Krishna. We all know who Lord Krishna is. We all know the stories of Mahabharatam. We know the story of Arjuna. We know the story of Kurukshetra. So this story in particular, it is not going to overlap with Mahabharatam. This is the story when Krishna is a small baby, a young boy, just like you all are right now. So that is the story we are going to cover in this particular episode. Okay? So again, the timelines, you all remember the timelines, right? Beginning is the Satya Yugam, next is Treta Yugam, where Rama's story happened, and then Dwapara Yugam. And then we are in Kali Yugam. The fourth one is Kali Yugam, that is where we are in right now. So Dwapara Yugam, once upon a time, long time ago, in Dwapara Yugam, there used to be a king called Ugrasena. And he has a son called Kamsa. So we are starting the story with the villain. Kamsa is the villain of our story, and he is the son of the king Ugrasena. And Ugrasena, he has a brother called Devaka. And Devaka has a daughter, her name is Devaki. So Kamsa is brother of Devaki. So her dad's elder brother's son. So they're cousins, so brother, right? So Devaki and Kamsa, they are the son and daughter of the kings Ugrasena and Devaka. And Kamsa, he loves Devaki so much, the younger sister. He pampers her all the time. He takes very, very good care of her, and he would do anything for her. And then on the side, there used to be another king called Surasena. And Surasena, among other sons, he has one son called Vasudeva. So Ugrasena and Surasena, they both decided that they should get Vasudeva and Devaki married. So they took out a good auspicious muhurat, the timing for performing the marriage, and they performed their marriage in a magnificent way. They invited everybody, all the kings, surrounding kings. They invited the subordinates. They invited all the dignitaries, everybody, all the kingdom, people in the kingdom, everybody came and witnessed that great, great festival celebration of the wedding of Vasudeva and Devaki. So once all of the marriage is done, so Devaki, she goes from her house to Vasudeva's house, right? So that's called a procession where it, like, they bring big chariots, they bring lots and lots of gifts for the newlywed couple. They have elephants, they have cavalry, they have armies, they have lots of servants that follow them. So the big procession that follows the newlywed couple. So they were getting onto the chariot, Vasudeva and Devaki, and Kamsa, he came and he said, "You are my sister and I love you so much. So you are going to be away from our house. So as a parting gift, I want to drive this chariot myself." So it is a big deal because he is the king. And being a charioteer, it is a normal job, right? So for him to get down so many levels and become a charioteer, it shows how much he loves his sister Devaki. So he said, okay, this is going to be a great celebration. Instead of the charioteer, I'm going to take this chariot myself and drop you both at your house. So they all started with the big procession with all the elephants, all the servants, the horses, chariots, servants, gifts. Everybody was following, and they were going from Ugrasena's kingdom to Surasena's kingdom. And on their way, as they were going through, they heard a big sound, big voice from the sky. Normally the sound, it comes from a body, from a system, from something. It has to have an origin, right? But this voice, this sound did not have an origin. So where there is no origin, it is called Akasavani. Akasam means sky. Vani means voice. So the voice came from the sky. So it is, nobody could see where it is coming from, who is talking. But the voice said, "Hey Kamsa, you are being so excited about this movement. You are an evil king and you have always followed evil paths. And that path will even get worse as you go forward. So to stop you from performing all these evil activities, God himself will come as the 8th son of Devaki, your sister. The 8th baby of your sister Devaki that you love so much, that you are so excited about, he will bear your enemy that is going to end your life in her 8th pregnancy." That is the message that came from the sky. So all bets are off. Immediately, Kamsa was very, very, very angry. He was very upset with what he heard. He has no credibility of what that sound is, where it is coming from, whether it is true, who is saying that, has no idea. And who is in the chariot? His beloved sister and brother-in-law. Doesn't matter to him. That is what evil is, right? So he immediately jumped out of the chariot. He drew the sword from his waist, and then he immediately raised his sword to kill Devaki. So if Devaki is going to give birth to 8 kids, and if the 8th kid is going to be his enemy, why not kill the root itself, right? So if there is no mother, there is no child. So that is the philosophy Kamsa went with, he immediately lost his temper, he immediately lost his cool, he stopped thinking straight, he started thinking evil, and he drew the big sword and he was getting ready to kill his sister Devaki, the newly wed sister that he loves so much. Let's pause here for a quick second. I want to draw a quick comparison of what we saw in first week to what we are seeing right now. So everybody remembers where this story started. Parikshit, the king who insulted the sage by putting a snake, cold dead snake on his neck while he was performing penance, while he was meditating. So his son Shrungi, he got angry and gave a curse to Parikshit, saying, you will die in 7 days by the snake bite of Takshak. You all remember that? Thumbs up. So then Parikshit, he wanted to use that 7 days to the best of his capability, and he asked Sukha Brahma to tell him the stories of Bhagavatam. So similar, right? Parikshit, he got cursed by Shrungi saying that he will die in 7 days. What did he do? He said, okay, I'm not going to fight this. There is nothing I can do. What is in the destiny is in the destiny. But these 7 days, what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend all my time in the presence of God with my teacher Sukha Brahma. That is what he decided to do in the 7 days that he knows he got in his life. In the same way, if Kamsa knows that he has 8 babies, let's say 1 year for baby, right? At least he has 8 to 10 years before he dies. So the 8th baby comes, he has to become a little big. He can't kill him while he was a baby, right? So at least he has 15, 20 years of his life. So you see the difference between how Parikshit handled his curse, knowing that he's going to die in 7 days. He used it as a divine intervention. He said, okay, I'm going to use this 7 days to get moksham, to get liberated, to be one with the Lord. But whereas Kamsa, what he's doing is, okay, you're saying I am going to die in 15 years, 20 years, whatever it is. I do not accept it. I'm going to fight it. I'm going to try to stop it no matter what. Will he be able to stop destiny? No, there is no way he will be able to do it. But it is that nature of evil, it is that nature of wrong thinking that will lead into this wrong paths, right? So that is why he began to do such heinous act of trying to kill his own sister. So he raised that sword saying that I'm going to kill you right now. So forget about the 8th baby. If you're not there, there won't be any babies of yours. So as soon as he raised his sword, everybody was in shock. Nobody saw that coming. Everybody was enjoying that great celebration of wedding, and they were really excited to go back to their own kingdom. As soon as this happened, Vasudeva, he got a little bit out of the shock, and he started thinking what to do next. As soon as he realized that Kamsa is going to overpower him, he cannot stop him with his strength or power, he said, okay, I have to be diplomatic here. I have to do something to stop him, no matter what it takes. So then he started talking to Kamsa. He started telling the philosophy of life. He's like, everybody who gets birth has to die one day. It is not in our hands when the birth will come, when the death will come. He told all the philosophy, and he said, if you kill your sister, your name will be written in the books of history in a very, very, very bad way. So you don't want to get that kind of name for yourself, for your father, for your ancestors, for your next generations to come. And he told so many good things. But Kamsa, he was not convinced by any of that. He was determined to kill Devaki. He raised his sword one more time. He said, I don't care if I get a bad name. I'm going to kill her right now. Again, it's time for Vasudeva to think on his feet immediately and think of a plan to stop him. Do something and say something. No matter what, he has to stop Kamsa from killing his wife, right? So Vasudeva, he immediately kneeled down and he said, okay, hear me out here. The problem is with the children that are going to be coming from Devaki that Devaki is going to give birth to. What if I bring every baby that is born to Devaki? As soon as they're born, I'll bring them to you, and instead of killing the mother, kill the babies. As a baby, they won't be that strong, so they can fight you. So what you can do is, I will bring the babies to your kingdom as soon as they're born, and as a baby itself, quash them, kill them as they are a baby, and then you won't have any enemies, you won't have any issues with what Akashvani just said. Akashvani is that invisible voice that announced that the 8th baby of Devaki is going to kill Kamsa. So Kamsa, he thought about it. He's like, okay, I love my sister so much. I don't want to hurt her anyways. So my enemy is not her. And Vasudeva, he's not strong enough to fight with me anyways. So this seems to be a reasonable plan, and I will be able to make this work. So he made an agreement with Vasudeva. And he knows that Vasudeva, once he makes a promise, he's good for it. He never ever lies. He never goes back on his promise. So he was happy with the agreement that he made with Vasudeva. He said, okay, I'm going to let you both live. I'm going to let you go to your kingdom. But as promised, every time a baby is born, you are to bring the baby to me, and I'm going to take care of that baby. So when I say take care of the baby, in his terms, it is killing the baby, right? So that's what happened between Vasudeva, Devaki, and Kamsa. So after that, Vasudeva and Devaki, they both went back to their kingdom, and they started living their life as usual, right? Let's take a quick pause here. Shyam, did you have a question? Anybody has any questions?
Sir, I have a question.
Go.
Is Krishna girl or a boy?
Krishna is a boy. Okay? You're welcome. Hari Om. So anybody else any questions? Awesome. So then they were going on with their life, and as decided and as expected, they gave birth to their first baby. As promised, Vasudeva, he immediately brought the baby to Kamsa. He said, brother-in-law, as I promised, I brought the baby to you. Whatever you think is reasonable, whatever you think is justified, do so with the baby. Then Kamsa looked at Vasudeva, looked at the baby. He's like, he's a small baby, and the danger is not with the first 7 babies anyways. So it's the 8th baby that is going to be my enemy, and I have to be worried only about the 8th baby. So I will let this baby live. So he said, Vasudeva, take the baby back with you, raise the baby very nicely, and then when it comes to the 8th baby, bring all the babies to me. I will make a decision at that particular point. And when it comes to the 8th baby, I will not show any mercy. So he said that, and then he sent the Vasudeva back to his house. So one after the other, first baby, then after the few years, the second baby was born. After a few years, third baby was born. Third, fourth year, fourth baby was born, fifth baby, 6 babies were born. So by the time 6th baby is born, it means the first baby is like 8 years or 9 years old, right? It's like a young boy right then. So one day, as this was going on, the Ugrasena and his kingdom, they're doing good. Vasudeva, Devaki, and the kids, they're all doing good. And one day, as this was all going on, Narada, he came to, everybody remember sage Narada? He comes in the beginning of the story of Ramayana. He is the son of Lord Brahma. He is the Devarshi. He keeps traveling around the worlds saying the name of Lord Vishnu. He is a great, great, great devotee of Lord Vishnu. So he arrived at the court of Kamsa. He started talking about different things, and then he started telling the story of how these 6 kids were born, and the 8th kid of Devaki is going to be Lord Vishnu himself. He explained that Lord Vishnu asked all the gods and the sages and the rishis to be born in Gokulam, which is the town that SriKrushna is going to grow up in. And as the people there, as the cows and herd there, and they were already born and they are living their life there, starting to wait for Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu to come arrive there and be with them. So as soon as Kamsa heard about that story, he associated that with the message he got from the Akashvani. He realized that that eighth kid who Narada is talking about, that is Krishna, that is Lord Vishnu, that is his enemy. So he immediately got really, really agitated. He got angry. And as soon as Narada left, he realized, I cannot spare anybody. This is getting very, very crucial, and this is going to bite me. This is going to be very risky for me to let everybody be free in their own will and at their own houses. So I have to take care of this somehow to protect myself from the eighth child of Devaki. So the cruel, evil Kamsa woke up. Until now, he had a little bit 1 ounce of compassion that he was showing to Vasudeva and Devaki. All of that went away. The cruel, really, really evil Kamsa, he woke up, and then he immediately summoned his soldiers, armies, to capture Vasudeva, Devaki, the children, the 6 children that were born until now. Even his dad, Ugrasena, he was objecting the actions of Kamsa. He's like, you're not doing the right thing by confiscating and you're capturing your own sister. These are not the right things to do. So he did not like his advice as well. He even captured his own father. He occupied the kingdom that was being ruled by his father. He started ruling all the kingdoms, and then he put everybody in jail. His father Ugrasena, Vasudeva, and Devaki, along with all the children. He put everybody in jail. So as soon as everybody was in jail, the 6 children, the first 6 children that were born, he mercilessly brought all of them and he killed all the 6 children. Before we worry about the children, there is a backstory for those 6 kids. In the previous life, they got cursed by Hiranyakasipa. We all remember Prahlada and Hiranyakasipa stories, right? Prahlada's father, Hiranyakasipa. So Hiranyakasipa, he cursed these 6 children to be born to Kamsa, to be born to Devaki, and to be killed by Kamsa when they were very young. So there is a reason why these children had to die at a very young age, because of a curse that they had in the previous life. So Kamsa, he brought all the 6 children and he killed all of them. So you can imagine the trauma that Vasudeva and Devaki were going through. Their beloved children, 6 of them, they die in front of their eyes. And Kamsa, he is as evil as anybody can be. He is very cruel to them. He put them in a jail. So they were very, very worried. Not only for the 6 children that died, but also for the next children to come. So they were worried and they were very, very anxious about to learn what happens next, right? So did somebody has a question? Yes, Ugrasena is the father of Kamsa. That is correct. So Kamsa, he's so evil that he captured his own father and put him in jail because he was telling him not to do this to his own sister Devaki. So he did not like the advice that his father gave him. So he put him in jail. So that is the character of Kamsa. So when we talk about these evil characters, so you can see how compassionless, how evil, how wrong their path is, and why God takes these forms to punish them. So that is the nature, that is the evil nature of Kamsa. So 6 children, and the next child will be the 7th child, right? So Devaki and Vasudeva, they were very worried to know what is going to happen next and to know how they can protect the upcoming children. So as expected, Devaki became pregnant again. That will be the 7th child. That will not be the 8th child. We are not at 8 yet. We are at the 7th child, right? So the 7th child is growing up in Devaki's tummy. And after a few months, the fetus was growing in the tummy of the mother. The fetus is the small baby form that becomes big in the tummy and finally comes out, right? So that is called a fetus. So the fetus is growing in the mother's tummy. Meanwhile, Lord Vishnu, in his abode, Vaikuntham, he called Yogamaya. Yogamaya is none other than Parvati Devi. Lord Shiva and Parvati Devi. So that Parvati Devi, she is called with many, many, many names. Durga, Parvati, Shambhavi, Bhavani, Lalita Devi. One of the names is called Yogamaya because Maya means magic. She is capable of performing any kind of miracles, any kind of magic, any kind of events to happen. She is also called Yogamaya. That is Parvati Devi. So he called upon his sister Parvati Devi, Yogamaya, Lord Vishnu, and he told her the next course of action. So what all has to happen in the next birth of the seventh child and in the next birth of the eighth child after the seventh child. So he explained what all has to happen and what her role is and how she has to execute all of that. He explained all of that, and immediately Yogamaya said, okay, consider it done. I'm going to help you out with this, and then you will be able to be born as Lord Krishna, the eighth child of Devaki. So she took leave from Lord Vishnu and she went to the place where Mathura is the city where Kamsa is holding Devaki and Vasudeva in the jail. So she immediately went to Mathura and she went to the jail where Devaki Devi was sitting in the jail, and the baby in the stomach, in the tummy of Devaki, so the small fetus, what she did is she picked up that small seed, the small baby growing inside the stomach of Devaki Devi. Vasudeva has another wife called Rohini. She is currently, at that point of time, she was living in a town called Gokulam. And because Kamsa was looking out for all the wives and all the families of Vasudeva, he wants enmity with everybody because he learned that the eighth child of Devaki is going to kill him. So he captured all the immediate family of Vasudeva, all his wives, everybody is in jail except for one wife. Her name is Rohini. She was at Gokulam, in the town called Gokulam. That town is ruled by a person called Nanda, and Nanda is a very good friend of Vasudeva. So he said, protect Rohini from Kamsa. Don't let Kamsa find her and put her also in jail. So Rohini was hiding at Nanda's town, which is called Gokulam. So Yogamaya, what she did is she went to the jail in Mathura. She took that baby that is growing up in the tummy of Devaki. Very carefully, she placed that baby into the tummy of Rohini. So the one wife of Vasudeva, Devaki, she was bearing the child, the seventh child. That baby, that small baby growing up in Devaki's tummy, the Yogamaya, who is all capable of doing any kind of magic, any kind of miracle. She took that baby and she carefully placed that baby into the stomach of Rohini. Did you guys understand what happened here? If you guys have any questions, let me know. I will try to explain. So nothing happened. The baby is in one tummy. Yogamaya, with her magical powers, brought that baby from one tummy into another tummy of Rohini so that the baby grows up unharmed by Kamsa. Because otherwise, once the baby comes out of Devaki's tummy, what will Kamsa do? He will immediately try to kill the baby, right? So in order to protect that seventh baby, she carefully took the baby and put it in Rohini's tummy, who was safe in Gokulam at that time, right? So the baby grew up very nicely in the stomach of Rohini. Everybody in the jail in Mathura thought that the baby in Devaki's stomach, she was not able to continue with that pregnancy and she dropped the baby. That's what they thought. So since they thought that the baby was dropped, they named that baby as Sankarshana, and that baby came out of the stomach of Rohini as a very, very, very healthy and strong boy. Since he was very strong as a baby itself, he was named as Balaram, and he was so nice to look at. He was very, very, very handsome to look at. So Bala means strong, Rama means Ramaniya, very, very pleasant to look at. So together they named him as Balram. So Balaram is the elder brother of Krishna, and he was born before as the seventh child of Devaki and Rohini. So that is what happened with the seventh child. So Balaram is safe now. He's growing up nicely in Gokulam. So did somebody have a question? Anybody have any questions?
I am Sham. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if the eighth child that is Krishna, will the Krishna will be able to defeat the evil person as he would be crying like a normal baby, and before that he could literally kill him.
Yeah, that's going to be the story. Let's wait and see how he's going to handle it, okay? That's the entire story of how he handles the entire situation and how he makes everything happen. So that is the magic of Vishnu, that is the magic of Krishna, right? So Balaram, he was growing up nicely in the town of Gokulam with his mother Rohini and all his aunts and everybody, all the people in Gokulam, and he was very, very, very happy in Gokulam. So meanwhile in Mathura, Kamsa thought that Devaki's baby, the seventh baby, died as a fetus, as a small baby itself in the stomach. So he had nothing to worry about. It is only if the baby comes out and only if the baby is living, that is when he has to worry that the baby is going to be of any danger to him, right? No baby, no danger. That's what he thought. And he was going on with his business as usual. And again, after a few months, few years, Vasudeva and Devaki, they became pregnant again. This is child number 8. So this is the child that Kamsa is waiting for. This is the child that the Akashvani warned him about. This is going to be his nemesis. This is the child that is going to be his staunch enemy. This is the child that is going to bring death to him. So he knows that this is the 8th child. So you can imagine how careful he's going to be, and he increased all the security, he increased the soldiers that are standing around Vasudeva and Devaki, he increased everything, 24-hour vigilance, everybody is watching them all the time. There's like big locks and big doors outside in front of Vasudeva and Devaki's prison. So everything is being monitored in a very, very, very careful manner. So by the time the 9th month came and the beautiful baby Devaki gave birth to a very, 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 very beautiful and very vibrant and very bright baby, small baby. And then Vasudeva and Devaki, they were very, very happy to see the baby. And as they were praying to the baby, Lord Vishnu, he came in his full form as a full Lord Vishnu with the 4 hands, with the disc in one hand, with the conch in the other hand, with his mace in the one hand and his blessing with the other hand. So he looked so vibrant, he looked so bright, and he gave his blessings to Vasudeva and Devaki. And he said, do not worry about anything. I'm going to take care of this baby. I am this baby. I came here onto this earth to eradicate evil. From time to time, I take birth as humans or as any other avatar as needed to eradicate evil. When the evil becomes very, very, very heavy on earth, and when good people get punished, and when the Vedas, when the cows, when all the people, the good people, virtuous people get punished by the evil, I will not tolerate. That is when I take a form, I come as an avatar. And this is one of those avatars, and I am born to eradicate evil in any form that is walking on this earth. So Vasudeva and Devaki, they did great prayers to Lord Vishnu. They were very, very happy that the Lord himself is born as a child to them. Now their confusion is, okay, there is a small baby, but Kamsa is waiting outside. As soon as he hears about the baby, as soon as he hears the cries of the baby, he's going to come inside with all his soldiers, all the weapons and everything, right? So what do they do now? So that is again the magic of Yogamaya. So everybody outside of their prison cell, they were all in deep sleep. Nobody was able to hear all the words, all the talk that was happening between Vasudeva, Devaki, and Lord Vishnu. There was no cries, there was no sound that went out of the prison cell. Then Lord Vishnu, he instructed Vasudeva of what to do next. Hey Vasudeva, carry me in a small basket, cross river Yamuna, and go to the town of Gokulam. That is where your friend Nanda, he is ruling that town right now. And that is where my brother, your seventh child, Balaram, is growing up. We carefully took the small fetus, the baby from inside the stomach of Devaki, and placed it in Rohini's stomach. So he is well and he is safe and he is growing up to be a strong boy. So you take the responsibility of putting me there. And at the same time, Nanda's wife Yashoda also gave birth to a baby girl. That is the baby girl in the form of Yogamaya. So bring that Yogamaya, that small baby girl, and put her here instead of me. So do the exchange, and that way Kamsa thinks that the girl is the eighth child, and he will try to kill that girl. So he instructed the next steps to Vasudeva, and then he became the small baby. His big form of the Lord, it became a small into the big light, and it went into the baby. So Lord Krishna, he was lying down there as a baby. He was kicking all the things that the small babies do. And then Vasudeva, he immediately wrapped the baby in a nice silk garment. He put the baby in a basket, and then he started to go out. But he's in a prison. He's in a fort. He's in a castle surrounded by thousands and thousands of soldiers. How will he walk out of a prison, guarded prison, locked cell without anybody noticing him? That is the Yogamaya performing her miracle again. So all the guards that were in line where Vasudeva was walking, all of them fell unconscious. They were sleeping deep sleep, and all the jail cells, they just opened by themselves as Vasudeva was walking. There was nothing to obstruct him. There was no stopping him. There was nobody that noticed that Vasudeva was walking out with a basket on top of his head with a baby inside the basket. So as soon as he stepped out of the castle, it is dark, middle of the night. So Lord Krishna, he was born in the middle of the night. Around August time, we celebrate a festival called Krishnastami. That is the birthday of Lord Krishna. On that day, he was born middle of the night. And when it is the middle of the night, Vasudeva comes out. What do you expect? There is no street lights at that time. So everybody was sleeping. So it is pitch dark. And it was raining heavily. So you can imagine the difficulty of Vasudeva to maneuver himself, to go in which direction, to how to go, where to go, and how to get to Gokulam. All of these big questions for him, right? So as soon as he stepped out of the castle, as it was raining, so the big snake that Lord Vishnu sleeps on, Ananta. Everybody knows the big snake that Lord Vishnu sleeps on, right? His name is Ananta, Seshasai. So he is the form that took birth as Lakshmana in Treta Yugam along with Rama. He is the form that took birth as Balarama, as the elder brother of Lord Krishna in this avatar as Lord Krishna. So he, with his multiple hoods, he came and he stood on top of the basket. He started projecting this big light. He himself is a big light, right? So he started showing the path to Vasudeva while he was covering the baby as if he was a big umbrella. So as they were walking, Vasudeva with the basket on top of his head and the baby inside the basket, and Ananta, Seshasai, the big snake with the multiple hoods, he was following, showing the path to Vasudeva, covering up the baby so that the rain doesn't impact the baby or Vasudeva. So beautiful scene to just close your eyes and imagine. Heavy rain out of the castle, Vasudeva comes out, he has no idea where to go, and Ananta, the big snake with multiple hoods, 1,000 hoods, he comes and stands on top of them. Amazing just to close eyes and imagine that. That is the magic of Krishna. His birth itself is a miracle. His birth itself is a magic. Just imagining that is just an amazing experience. So next, as he was going through, there comes a situation where river Yamuna was in the way and he has to cross the river to go to the other side and reach the city of Gokula. So he stood there and he was in shock. Okay, what to do now? I have no idea how to cross this Yamuna, the big river with these big waves and very deep waters. Again, you remember when Rama was trying to cross the ocean, he took out his bow and arrow and he challenged the ocean god to give him path. So, and the ocean god obliged. He got up from the ocean bed of the ocean and he gave them a solution to their problem. In the same way, Yamuna, she split into two parts. She gave path to the Vasudeva who's carrying the basket along with Ananta, so they will be able to walk on the dry land. Again, an amazing scene just to close your eyes and imagine. Big river, deep waters of river, stopping and dividing itself into two, making a path, dry path, so that Vasudeva can walk across the river and reach the other side of the river. So Vasudeva, he did his namaskaram to Yamuna and then he started walking across the river on the dry land and he reached the other side. So amazing miracles, one after the other, the birth of Lord Krishna, the small baby coming up and talking, and Vasudeva opening up all the cells, and as soon as he comes to Yamuna, Yamuna herself giving path so that Vasudeva can cross. So as soon as he reached Gokulam, he immediately realized Nanda's house was right there, and as mentioned by Lord Vishnu, Nanda's wife, her name is Yashoda, she also gave birth to a small baby girl at the same time, and she was resting with the baby on her side. So Vasudeva, as instructed by Lord Vishnu, he took the baby there. He carefully took Lord Krishna from the basket and put him on the side of Yashoda and took the baby girl, Yogamaya, and put her carefully on the basket, and then he started his journey back to the prison. Because he has to come back to the prison and put that child back so that Kamsa doesn't have any questions or Kamsa doesn't suspect any foul play, right? So he immediately started rushing. He didn't wait to give him another hug and give him another kiss. He knows the urgency of the situation. So immediately he rushed back with the baby in the basket and then he started his journey back to the prison. Same thing, as soon as he came near Yamuna, the river split into two parts and he was able to walk on the dry path. He came to the castle, the big royal palace. The gates opened themselves by themselves. As he started walking through each door into the castle, into the buildings, into the royal palace, the door started locking behind him. He's crossing the door's getting locked and the chains are getting locked as they were before. Again, the magic, the miracle of Lord Krishna. So as soon as he went inside the prison doors also got locked and the chains locked themselves around the doors of the prison, and he gently brought the Yogamaya, that small little girl baby that he brought along with him, and he placed her to the side of Devaki Devi. So as soon as he placed the baby onto the lap of Devaki Devi, she started crying. As soon as she touched Devaki Devi, she started crying with big voice. What happens when the baby cries? The soldiers wake up. The soldiers woke up. They know the urgency of the situation. They didn't know they slept. They didn't know all this happened. They were thinking, oh, okay, the baby just cried. We are just going to inform Kamsa immediately. So they ran and went and told to Kamsa, the 8th baby is born. Just now, we are able to hear the cries. We didn't want to open the doors because you wanted to first visit the child yourself. So immediately Kamsa, he took his sword, he took his soldiers, all the weapons and everything, and he started marching towards the prison cell. So as soon as he came into the prison cell, he, as usual, he picked up the baby. Very casually, he wanted to kill the baby. So Devaki Devi, she fell on the feet of Kamsa. She started begging him, Kamsa, my brother, this is not a boy child also, this is a baby girl. This is going to be your niece. She will not be of any danger to you. I will make sure of that. Do not punish this child. Do not kill this child. She's just a mere small baby. But again, the cruel mind that is Kamsa, he said, okay, I'm not going to listen to any of this. Eighth child of yours is going to be dangerous for me. That child will be my enemy and that child will bring death to me. So there is no sparing this child. And so with no compassion, with great amount of cruelty, he held the leg of the baby upside down and he threw her into the air, thinking that when the baby falls down, he's going to put his sword in the middle and the baby will become two parts. That was his plan, the cruel plan of Kamsa. That is how he wanted to handle a small little baby. As soon as the baby flew into the air, that baby never came down. Gravity didn't work on that baby because that is Yogamaya. She herself is Parvati Devi. Instead, she became this big, huge goddess with multiple hands, with weapons in each of those hands. And she gave this amazing darshan to all of them there. And she started talking. Oh, cruel Kamsa, what you've tried to do, and all your life has been evil, evil, and nothing but evil. For that, you will be punished. You killed small babies, you just tried to kill me, and all of those sins will catch up to you. Your nemesis, your enemy, he is born to the muhurat that was decided before, and very carefully he was exchanged and he was put in a safe place by the Maya that is me. So he is growing up and he will soon become strong enough to fight you and to kill you. That is inevitable. And so be it. And she blessed Vasudeva and Devaki and she vanished from there. The magical powers of Yogamaya, the magical powers of Lord Krishna. So this time, the stunning, the surprising thing that happened, the surprise is to Kamsa and not to Devaki and Vasudeva. Until now, he's been punishing the children, and Devaki and Vasudeva are getting shocked and getting punished for his actions. But this time, it is the turn of Kamsa to get shocked, to get really, really, really scared, and to get perplexed. So he started wondering how all this happened and how did it happen in my own prison cell, with all these guards around and with everybody watching every second of every minute of every day. So again, those are some things that he cannot understand, and those are the miracles of the God. And anything can happen when God himself thinks of, right? So that with the magic miracles of Yogamaya and Lord Krishna, the great birth of Lord Krishna happened, and the transformation from one place, that is Mathura prison cell, to Gokulam, that also happened in that great auspicious occasion. And the Yogamaya, she disappeared from the prison cell, warning Kamsa of his consequences, and she went back to her abode, that is Kailasa. So it is great coincidence for us. Today, as I mentioned, it is the birthday of Lord Rama, and as part of the story, we are able to discuss the birth of Lord Krishna. So this is something that cannot be planned. This is a great coincidence. This is blessing of Lord Rama and Lord Krishna and nothing else. So with that, the birth of Lord Krishna on this great day of Srirama Navami, I'm very delighted that we are able to discuss this story on this great day. So we are going to conclude our story session at this point of time. Next week, we are going to see how Krishna is growing up and how Krishna is becoming a mischievous boy, just like you all. What all mischief you all do, Krishna is also doing similar kind of mischiefs, and he is becoming a darling of all the people of Gokulam. We are going to discuss all the childhood stories of Krishna in the next week's session. So with that, we are going to move to the next segment of today's session, that is the Krishnastakam recital. So we did the first two slokas in the previous session, so let's try to do it together. Please sing along with me. Do not worry if you are not able to do it. As you practice more, it will get easier and you will be able to easily do it. Okay? So please sing along with me. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Atasi Pushpa Sankasham Haranupura Shobhitam Ratna Kankana Keyuram Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Excellent work. We have a couple of minutes, so let's just do the slokas one word at a time quickly, and then we are going to discuss the meaning of the slokas in the next session. Okay? So one word at a time, please repeat after me. Kutilalaka Samyuktam Purnachandra Nibhananam Vilasat Kundaladharam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Mandara Gandha Samyuktam Charuhasam Chaturbhujam Barhi Pinchava Chudangam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Excellent work. With this, we will conclude the Krishnastakam learning session as well. Next week, we will do the same two slokas again. So don't worry if you're not able to follow the words. And also next week, we are going to review the meaning of these two slokas as well. So with that, we will conclude the Stotram session. And then we are going to move on to the Mangala Shasanam. So we are going to wish the best for everybody in the world. Please sing along with me. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Excellent work. With this, we will conclude today's session. If you have any questions, please stay back and I will try to answer your questions. If not, you're free to leave now. Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Shyam, you have a question? You can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yes, sir. I have the same question because I'm asking the same question as my mother told that I first asked the question is Krishna is a girl or a boy. So you answered that he's a boy, but my mom is telling that she's actually a female because that words sound very girly.
What is it that I didn't understand the last part? She's a girl because?
Because my mother told that Krishna is a female. Krishna is actually a female because that word sounds girly.
That name sounds girly?
For my mother.
Oh, okay.
I got confused.
Okay. So yeah, some girls also put that name. Krishna Priya is a very common name. So, however, the Lord himself does not have a gender. It is a big light, bright light. But in this particular case, when we have to talk a gender, Lord Krishna is always discussed to be a male, to be a boy. So that is the description that Vedavyasa is given. As for the name comes, it is a very beautiful name, and it is normally given to both boys and girls. So it should be okay if a girl is named as Krishna. I know a lot of Krishna Priya, Krishna Sahiti. I know many people with many girls with name Krishna.
So Krishna is a girl and a boy.
Krishna name can be used for a girl and a boy, but in our story, as we discuss, the story is going to be of a boy. Lord is, as mentioned by Vedavyasa, the gender, if we have to give him a gender, it is a boy.
Okay, so I think you are telling that Krishna is a girl and Krishna is a boy also.
No, Krishna is a boy. The hero of our story is a boy. The Lord Krishna is a boy. But the name Krishna can be used for both boys and girls.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hari Om, you're welcome.
Hari Om, sir.
Anybody else? Yep. Bye. Anybody else? Any questions? Bye. Hari Om, Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. We'll meet again in next week. Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.